because I like the fact that I don't care what they say about me, so it's kind of an exercise in that. And I get what you're saying. I don't mind being pillory, but you still get hurt at how mindless they are. I mean, it's painful to see people in willful ignorance.
Or willfully collecting for doing what they're doing. And we got a lot of that today.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that know what's going on. They just think they're going to go along with it and be on the winning team. I think it is important, though, that if we do turn this around, that the people that were involved in it need to be punished. Because it's important to send a message to future generations.
Well, that's why we have a court system, and if it's not working properly and following the Constitution, well, we'll make it work properly and follow the Constitution. That's all we ask. I mean, if we put them in jail and take their ill-begotten goods away from them and their families and give it to the American Treasury, that would be a good thing, and all those people who need to be convicted of treason should be, and they should be hung, or whatever method they get rid of people like that.
Oh, this hidden treason, I don't know what is. You've been talking about the fact that they will bring in QE3. Here's CNBC today, call for QE. Remember 6-8 months ago, for those that just joined us, the Federal Reserve head, Bernanke, Osama bin Bernanke, said he wouldn't do that, so you know they will. Call for QE to stave off euro inflation. The reason it's QE3 is they're saying the Federal Reserve's already contributing, but it's going to be made public soon. What effect will that have?
It'll be monetization and extremely inflationary. It'll buy them under the current numbers that they're now working with, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. It's hard to tell. But there's another facet to this that people don't understand. The Fed is buying assets from the banks. They're buying toxic garbage, which are the bonds that contain mortgages. They previously bought from American and foreign banks, governments, even corporations, $1.4 trillion worth of that garbage, so to speak. And I think they're on their way already to purchasing 800 billion to $1 trillion more. And what will the banks do with that money? They will take it, number one, and buy treasuries and agencies. Those are bonds, which that means Treasury won't have to do it. They will also probably start making loans, which they have. They've increased loans to small and medium-sized businesses, and they take the rest of the money and speculate with it, usually leverage around 30 or 40 to 1.
Well, I was about to say, that's the number I saw even in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago. Max Kaiser was pointing it out, and we pulled the article up while he was on air, that speculation compared to 2008 when it hit its last height, by October, that it's something like 30% higher than it's ever been. So they're selling more derivatives, more crud than ever.
That's right, and there's big profits because there's no collateralization. It's a pure gambling casino special, and they're the house. They write the things, and if they're wrong, they got to pay, but they're never wrong. A good example is the $670 billion worth of derivatives called CDSs, which are credit default swaps, that were written and sold, most of which in this last 6 months, to European bankers. So they can't afford to have any of these people go out of business, like Greece, etc. And so that's why the money's coming forth. Don't forget, the Fed's supplying the money. The Fed is owned by the banks that are supplying the insurance, the CDS. The whole game is rigged.
Well said, Bob Chapman, theinternationalforecaster.com. If people want to get a free yearly subscription that's $159 value for free, you can buy a European fifth of an ounce gold coin from Midas Resources already at an extremely low price. And you can get a free membership to the International Forecaster. That's basically the gold at half price. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. Bob Chapman, always great having you with us on Fridays. And Lord willing, as I always say, we'll see you back here next Friday.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.
Bob, good to have you here. Okay, look, some days I am fired up and focused. Other days I get pretty angry. Today, I've been all over the map because I tended to come in and take a lot of calls and cover the news. And I don't want to sit here and whine. It's just disgusting to watch good people not even think about the fact that they have a place in history to shape the world. I mean, I think it comes down to that. Most people I know just think of the mall and the woods and the highway and their cars and their wife, their kids, their husband as just things, like none of it even matters, and life doesn't mean anything, and they talk about how life's empty. Life is incredibly full of good, the bad, and the ugly. This is a beautiful country, a beautiful planet. There are so many good people. We're defending the good. We're protecting the good. And that is such a sacred honor. That is such a lofty responsibility. The world is so full of wonderment. And I, myself, am so blessed to even be alive in it. And I have all these countless thoughts and understandings and points I want to make. And I guess there's an underlying frustration. I do a decent job on air overall, but I could do such a better job. And I ask God to help me. And, I know over the years, I've never made a secret of the fact that I'm a Christian and have a relationship with God. And a lot of worldly people think that's a funny joke, and I guess that's why they don't have any discernment. But I've never really, sat here and pushed my ideas. It's just that as things get worse and worse, I get closer and closer to God. And as I learn more and more about evil, it's so much more that I know I can even grasp. And then when I realize that the general public is basically asleep, I just can't imagine what it's like to be totally asleep to this stuff while it's going on all around you. Because we have been eased into this bucket of water with the flame under it, this pot, and now the water is just boiling. And every time I see families with innocent, sweet little children, my instincts, my spirit, my soul wants to protect them, wants them to have a great future. They say the children are like a arrow that you fire from a bow. By the time they're about 13 or 14, you've released the arrow, and now it's how you aim it. It's that steady shot, and then you release them from the bow, and they're free forever out into the universe. And it's the innocence of children who are in the garden. They are so innocent. They are so simple. They are so good. And I see them just turned over to the TV, turned over to the culture, turned over to Madison Avenue, and being wrecked. And I see what multi-generations of people turned over to this, of what they've been turned into. And all I know is we've got to pray for an awakening in this country. And again, even if you don't believe in spiritual things, meditate on it. I mean, think about it. Sit down in a chair with the music off and the TV off and nobody at home, and think about the world for an hour. Think about the things that are going on. I mean, we all know from history books and the news that checkpoints and military on the streets and political people being arrested and free speech under attack, we know that's the bad countries. And everything that is textbook bad country is now coming here, and we're doing it bigger and better the American way. And we know all this isn't being done for security. We know the financial interests that have hijacked this country wrap everything they do in the flag, their whole agenda. And they are funding the terrorists. people say, well, why would the government do that? As a pretext to take over society, to get the no-bid contracts, to secure their criminal gains. I mean, it's so simple. Why do adults even need to have it explained to them? I know you know better than I do. We've got to get this message out to the people that are in a zombie trance state. We've got to wake people up. It's life and death.
As we age, we lose...
Of waking people up.
To be faded.
The establishment, as you know, has been hyping new Oklahoma City bombings that they say are imminent that'll be blamed on domestic groups. Well, if we can expose that crime of 16 years ago, it'll give us a good jump on the global enemies that run this nation. We do have the film. I'm in it, but that's the least of it. You got the retired police officers, survivors of the bombing, others who saw the feds in there planting the bombs, the inventor of the neutron bomb saying there were bombs inside, General Parton, the former head of Air Force Weapons Development, talking about bombs inside. It's a Noble Lie, Oklahoma City, 1995, and I'm excited this is such a big seller because it supports these great filmmakers, but more importantly, it shows people are waking up. So we've got the film. If you wanted a Noble Lie, available on DVD at Infowars.com, and every order gets a citizen rulebook in it. The terrorist documents, according to FEMA, that founded this country. We also have Scientists Under Attack, Genetic Engineering and the Magnetic Field of Money. Award-winning film breaking down how deadly GMO is. Very important for you and your family, or family or others that don't understand how serious GMO is. Also, Outside the Law, stories from Guantanamo Bay. Want to know what it'll be like in the torture camps for innocent people. They don't take the real terrorists there. They work for the globalist. You can get this DVD at Infowars.com as well. And if you still want to give a Christmas gift this Christmas, obviously we can't ship it out to you before Christmas now, but you can get a Prisonplanet.tv membership. We have 15-day free trials. You get to see the video of this / radio show, the nightly news, all my films, almost 9 years of material, higher quality podcasts, and so much more at Prisonplanet.tv. We've got a 15-day free trial. It was so popular, we reinstated it. And you can also get 44% off on a yearly membership right now at prisonplanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. And a little secret is, as long as you don't use a username and passcode that you don't mind sharing, 6 people can log in simultaneously with the same username and passcode. We figured out we can pay for that much bandwidth with the membership we've got. And so all you do is you buy yourself a membership, use an easy-to-remember username and passcode, and then send an e-card to friends and family the night before Christmas or the day of Christmas and say, hey, here's a free membership to this site. Here's your username, passcode. Go watch these films. This is the type of subjects it covers, or watch this nightly news show. It's a very professional site. In the 9 years, we've upgraded it a lot. We almost had to cut back, letting 6 different people log in under one name because we had some problems a few months ago because so many people hitting it. But we've upgraded everything. It's working great. Even when the show goes on at 7 o'clock at night, there was some sluggishness, not now. So if you're not a PrisonPlanet.tv member, become one today. It is thanks to your support that we're able to have the news sites, the films, the nightly news. We're reaching 15 million people in the aggregate every week now, and it's only growing. And certainly at the tip of the spear is a dangerous place to be, but it's more dangerous to just get on our knees and bow to the vampires because they're not going to give us quarter. They're not going to back off, so we got to stand up against them. Also, it is imperative. It shows how many people are awake in this country that we're on now over 100 AM and FM stations, XM, channel 166, and other systems. You can also give people an XM gift. Not too late to go buy that at the store and give it to them with the package that has channel 166. Or give yourself that gift and, I don't know, blare it to the neighbors or whatever. And you can also support your local AM and FM stations, support their sponsors, spread the word about the stations. The fact that we're getting on so many stations shows that people are waking up. Hey, I get literally hundreds of emails a day that I see and calls and comments. And I used to think your husband was crazy. People tell my wife at church when I'm not there or on the street or at ballet or whatever with the kids or swim team. They pour in the comments. Oh, my gosh, it's all true. There was a checkpoint with the Army there this week. People are getting it. I was never making any of this up. Unfortunately, it's all real. See you back. Special show this Sunday, 4 to 6. Keep forgetting to plug that.
Thank you for listening to GCN.
A new premiere show this Sunday, 4 to 6 Central, on Christmas Day. Be sure.
6 months, maybe a year. It's hard to tell. But there's another facet to this that people don't understand. The Fed is buying assets from the banks. They're buying toxic garbage, which are the bonds that contain mortgages. They previously bought from American and foreign banks, governments, even corporations. 1.4 trillion.
Just because I like the fact that I don't care what they say about me, so it's kind of an exercise in that. And I get what you're saying. I don't mind being pillory, but you still get hurt at how mindless they are. I mean, it's painful to see people in willful ignorance.
Or willfully collecting for doing what they're doing. And we got a lot of that today.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that know what's going on. They just think they're going to go along with it and be on the winning team.
And give it to the American Treasury. That would be a good thing. And all those people who need to be convicted of treason should be. And they should be hung, or whatever method they get rid of people like that.
Oh, this hidden treason, I don't know what is. You've been talking about the fact that they will bring in QE3. Here's CNBC today. Call for QE. Remember 6-8 months ago, for those that just joined us. I think it is important, though, that if we do turn this around, that the people that were involved in it need to be punished, because it's important to send a message to future generations.
Well, that's why we have a court system, and if it's not working properly and following the Constitution, well, we'll make it work properly and follow the Constitution. That's all we ask. I mean, if we put them in jail and take their ill-begotten goods away from them and their families.
The Federal Reserve head, Bernanke, Osama bin Bernanke, said he wouldn't do that, so you know they will. Call for QE to stave off euro inflation. The reason it's QE3 is they're saying the Federal Reserve's already contributing, but it's going to be made public soon. What effect will that have?
It'll be monetization and extremely inflationary. It'll buy them under the current numbers that they're now working with, maybe